questions. Look at that.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
The Rules Committee is now coming to order. Today is November the 20th, and I detect a quorum. Our first item is going to be elections and confirmations. You're supposed to do me up.
I have personal privilege, please.
Yes.
I would like to take out of order my rule suspension.
Okay, that's all. If that's all right with the committee, that's okay with me.
All right.
Thank you. I've got to be downstairs to meet the bishop in a few minutes. So I'm going to need to.
1283.
Yes. So I'm going to have to suspend the rules for my amendments. When this bill was indefinitely deferred a couple of weeks ago when I was sick and missed one of our meetings, when I put it back on the agenda, I wrongly assumed that the amendments would be filed with it. I thought they just traveled as a package. I was incorrect, and so I'll be suspending the rules, and so I'll ask for everybody to be okay with that.
You need to know a little bit about what the bill is about.
I saw the amendments last night, so I'm...
Yeah, they were all
You're
previously
aware?
filed when it was in, they were filed timely before, so you've seen them then, and then I thought package deal, and I was wrong, so,
Okay.
They came through finance last night, so...
yes.
So we're all okay with that?
Yeah.
Looks like
Great.
we're all okay with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll get back to the agenda. And our first one is Boards and Zoning Appeals, the appointment of Mr. J. Ross Pepper for a term expiring on February the 26th, 2019, and you will fill the unexpired term of Mr. Richard King. And sir, I have actually only 3 questions for you.
Okay.
Do you live in Davidson County?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you vote in Davidson County?
I do.
Are you on any other metro boards or commissions?
I'm on the CATV Special Committee.
Okay, that's not one of the commissions.
No, it's
Okay,
not. It's a special committee, but
Right.
just to be sure,
sure.
I will disclose it.
Well, I'd like to open it up just in case any of my committee meeting members have any questions for you.
Sure.
I don't know, first, I don't know anything about Mr. Pepper. However, I do know that he knows how to hire people very well because I know both Matt and Sarah very well who work for him. So at least I know he knows how to hire people. So I don't know how he's going to do on this board at all, but his friends work for him. So with that being said, let's move on.
Well, I do know Mr. Pepper, and I have questions for him. So in my district, I feel that I'm actually at the Board of Zoning Appeals, and Mr. Ewing can attest to this a little bit. I'm actually at the Board of Zoning Appeals more often than planning, and as opposed to some of the other districts in West Nashville. And there are a few trends that I see here and there, and I've had some pretty complex cases come before zoning, and so I've also had to sit through the BZA for a number of hours waiting for my cases. I've had not necessarily complaints per se, but 2 observations that I kind of like your thoughts on. One is, and I don't know if you've had enough experience to look at it yet, is I feel that oftentimes the BZA is seen as a board of forgiveness, where somebody has done wrong, like build a building without a permit, or build a building too big, or that type of thing. And so they go to the BZA and just basically say, oops, I'm so sorry. And if neighbors are not empowered enough or know enough to kind of say, well, actually, no, that's not okay, it's granted and gone on through. And then secondly, I also see that a lot of times variances come up before the BZA, and they're not actually justified for, as written in the Tennessee Code Annotated, there's, 5 reasons why you can grant a variance. And a lot of times, the applicant will just say, well, there's nobody here to oppose it, neighbors didn't know to show up or weren't empowered enough to show up, so they don't. And so I think without having to really justify that they should have the variance under the law or they should have known better, the BZA is also often granting forgiveness because, I mean, maybe it's okay, but I don't know if we're always following the law. So I don't know if you've watched the BZA enough to respond to that, but those have been my kind of, and I've talked to the BZA about it, and Mr. Ewing and I have had long discussions, so.
Sure. Well, I don't think it ought to be a rubber stamp committee, and I think that if if people want a variance, it should be justified whether there's opposition or not, and it should meet the requirements for a variance. That's my view of it.
I move for
Councilor
approval.
Murphy,
I'm like, I'm good to go.
as chair who's
Okay,
rolling off the
sir.
BZA in February, and we also have David Harper who will be rolling off in February, this gives us a good opportunity for a new board member orientation. I've talked to
Right.
John Michael and staff, so I would hope that you and Councilor Henderson and others who come to the BZA or feel passionately about certain things will be part of that new orientation with
Love to be.
3 new
Yeah.
members in the spring. So I think that's a great opportunity to kind of
That would
voice
be
those
wonderful.
concerns.
Yes.
Thank you. I have
Yes.
another board member that, two. Kevin?
Mr. Pepper, so
Hold on just a minute.
some council members look at the BZA in different ways. I look at it as like a court of appeals. I never go. I don't get involved. People call me. They want me to come to the Board of Zoning Appeals. I tell them I don't go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm not going to take a position one way or the other. That's what they're there for. They're going to come present evidence, and I hope y'all are going to make a decision based on what you see, rather than me coming trying to make political hay at the Board of Zoning Appeals to get something for someone who may be my friend or against somebody who may not be. I don't think that's appropriate. Just could you kind of give us your opinion on whether you think it's appropriate for someone like me to be there
Sure.
telling you what to do, or do you think that you should just look at what the law is, the variance possibilities, and then making your ruling that way? So
I don't think I have enough experience at this point to answer that. I could see where people who might know how a lot of constituents feel, how their input would be helpful. But I think the variance has got to meet the rule of law and the variance requirements, regardless. So.
I think one of the things that kind of got me upset when I first started was I knew a couple of attorneys. It was a codes infraction, and we had a couple of attorneys who knew people in the codes department, and they started calling members of the codes department. And to me, it was just totally improper because they wanted the codes people to drop what they were doing, so they didn't even go to the board. And so this is kind of my concern, is that I think there's a process there, a legal process, and I don't like outside influences coming in. And that's just my opinion, so I hope you will take that for what it is.
Sure,
So,
I will.
Thank you.
Councilor Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is your time commitment. Board of Zoning Appeal is one of the very time-consuming, board because typically it starts at 1 and then average nowadays last 4 hours minimum. Sometimes go, as late as 6, 7, 8 hours and twice a month. How is your time commitment and readiness for that to participate?
Sure, I've thought about that, and I was told to plan on that being twice a month for an average of 5 hours. So I'm prepared for that time commitment. I'm fortunate that I work for myself, and I have a lot of flexibility in my schedule. So I've thought about that, and I'm ready for it.
God bless you.
Councilman, did you have any comments or anything?
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Good to see you. I think you'd be good at this. The idea of, the litigation background of sticking to the law on that with this is a big deal, and so I think you bring a good perspective. Appreciate your willingness to serve.
Yeah, thank you for your willingness. I appreciate that.
Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
It has been motioned and seconded that we accept Mr. J. Ross Pepper. All those in favor, please. I'm sorry.
If I just might say, Mr. Ross is my
excuse me.
constituent and was on the neighborhood board for the Board of Hillsborough Neighborhood Board, and I think has a good perspective of the law and is important to neighborhoods, and it's important to know both of those things, I think, as you're trying to work on a quasi-judicial board. So
Yeah, if he's got any questions, he's got a former Supreme Court justice across the street he can talk to.
So thank you for letting me speak.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? All right, so it
thank you very
looks
much.
like that's it now. Miss Murphy isn't here. Do you need a passing pass, a parking pass?
Oh, I don't need one. I work downtown, so
Okay.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you so very much. Next, we've got the Airport Authority and the appointment of Mr. Jimmy Granberry. I tried to say that fast because I knew I was going to mess it up. For a term expiring April the 5th, 2021. You will be filling the unexpired term of Mr. Diedrich Bentley.
Dirk Bentley, and I'm not singing.
You
Let's
can.
get that straight.
So I have a couple of questions for you. Do you live in Davidson County?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You vote in Davidson
Yes,
County?
ma'am, I do.
Are you on any other metro boards or commissions?
Yes.
So now I'd like to open it up, and any of my members have questions?
I guess I got several questions. The first is, being on the board, I know you will have a lot of, what's the word I want to say? You'll have a lot of contact with people from the Donaldson Hermitage area, which I represent, because we have planes that fly over and we're in the actual overlay for the airport. As I think it was reported just last week, we had 1.5 million come in and out in October. Once we get a lot of complaints as a councilman. I get a lot of complaints about airplanes and noise and the increase and the number of increases. Could you speak to how you feel about the communities around there and the closing of runways and construction and how it will affect, and just your thoughts as someone who's going to be on the board, taking into consideration the people that live around there when all the construction and all the increase in traffic is going to be going on. Just kind of your thoughts on it.
Of course, I think the increase in traffic and construction is kind of Nashville as a whole.
It is.
And I think as a pilot, I can speak to the noise, and I appreciate that. And, I don't think, anybody, but you choose to live there, right? So you know there's an airport there before you purchase. And I think
Of course, they purchased 30 years ago, and now, there
We're
was...
just talking about the increase.
There was-
The airport,
yeah.
the airport was there. The good thing is, and Mr. Krulin can speak to this, all the new airplanes are much quieter and much more fuel efficient, and that's, to meet the noise ordinances in other airports. I think that's, going to get, better as far as the volume. I mean, that's the good and the bad. It's a good thing for Nashville, but, I understand if you live there, it's just hope for winds out of the south, so they'll take off going the other direction.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I don't know if you've had any conversations with anyone here. I've heard that as the growth continues, that they may need to not only increase the current airport, but look to build another terminal across Donaldson Pike on land that they've been acquiring. Now, these people over in that area, they did not move next to an airport. They were, you know what I mean? So
I have no knowledge of that information. I know that they're talking about putting a tower at John Tune. The state's moving their hangar out there, so I think a lot of the smaller airplanes that are typically a little louder are moving out to John Tune. They're moving to Smyrna. They're moving to other, Dixon and all these other outlying airports because it's just easier and quicker to get in and out. Instead of in my little small airplane, when you leave out of Nashville, it takes you 30 minutes, sometimes before you can take off.
What kind of plane do you fly?
A Mall. It's a little single engine.
Yeah.
But so I'm sympathetic.
So just keep that in mind
Right,
for the
yeah,
folks that,
absolutely.
Right. And last but not least, do you think you can be on a board with Bobby Jocelyn? Do you think you can handle
No
that?
comment. I plead the fifth on that. No, Bobby's a great Nashvilleian and a good friend, does a lot of business for our company, sign business. So I've never served on a board. I've just done business with him. But he's always performed well. And talking about being a pilot, I think it should be on the record that I do own an airplane. I do rent from John Tune, where I keep my airplane. I buy fuel, I buy services, but it's all arm's length transactions, just like everybody else. And I had that long before this was an opportunity. I've been a pilot since 1977.
Thank you for serving. I appreciate it.
Any other? Yes.
If-
Any other questions?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, Councilman?
Just following up it's kind of a long story, but I've ended up working on zoning things in District 13 and 29, which are both east of the airport there. where the airport owns a bunch of land, butting up against both of those districts. And I think for being around the 500 square miles of the county, the traffic tucked in at the edge of Donaldson, between the dam and the lake, and going down the lake toward southeast Nashville is probably the most screwed up thing that the city's got going on, because the lake, the dam, the interstate, the airport, all boxes, like bottlenecks everywhere.
Got to go to the Y camp at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah,
Right.
you know exactly right.
It's really, really tough, and to the extent the airport ever goes east there, or just being aware of what's going on there, the folks there, like off of Elm Hill Pike, south of Interstate 40, have to cross Interstate 40 over to get on the interstate by the airport, and they're something like 30 minutes to get from their driveway to the interstate right now. And the same thing, if you try to go from Kevin's part of town down to southeast, like you forget about
Mill
it.
Road, yeah, it's just.
And
In our part of town, we've got a bridge out, so
Oh, yes.
we're sympathetic to the issues.
so I just wanted to echo that comment, that, and from my perspective, there's a few, like, really just complete, like, you're gridlocked. Most of them are southeast or southeast adjacent, and this is one of those places just east of the airport that's really messed up morning and afternoon every day.
Any other?
I'm just curious because I do appreciate your continuous, participation, because you have been on MDHA board, and then now you are on, airport. So what would be your goal to kind of bring your expertise and experience from MDHA to coming to, Metro Airport? Is there any connectivity as a city or as a bigger, entity umbrella, and to bring your
I don't know that it's MDHA as much as just what I do for a living in real estate development. I think that what I see from my tenants, how important the airport is, and a good airport of bringing people into town, whether it be for the CMA or the SEC basketball tournament or just for the holidays. And, I see my tenants that, are reaping the benefit of the success of Nashville. So I think, to participate in that it's important for the airport to be successful. And as I travel personally and see other airports and how dysfunctional they are. The London Heathrow, we all excited about that flight, but it can't even hold a candle to the Nashville airport. It's just, 4 different terminals. You got to ride buses between the terminals, and just, not a really good thing for, I would avoid it if I could. But, Nashville's a great airport. It's come a long way.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and approved to accept this, Mr. Jimmy Granberry? Granberry. All right, all those in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It looks like you have it, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do
I've
you
already
need-
parked there.
There we go.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution RS 2018-1495 by Syracuse. In order to bring this before us, do I have a motion?
I'm on it too.
Oh, okay. In order to
Would you like
bring
to sit down in
this
front of us, please?
before us, do I have a motion?
What is it?
What are we talking about?
Recognizing park.
Yeah. I need a motion just to get
Yes.
them to talk
Yes,
about it.
moved.
And thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Sponsor, would you like to speak to this?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Oh, how'd you get right there behind her? Oh, okay. My eyes. My bad.
Yeah, he's here.
I'm good about blending.
In his navy suit into the beige walls.
As Chair of Parks, Library, and Arts, this is an opportunity to give congratulations and showcase our Metro Parks employees who recently were at the Tennessee Parks and Recreation Association, and 3 of our employees are now on their board, and they've received, I believe it's 3 or 4 accolades while they were there. So this is just a resolution to give them some congratulations.
Great. Well, it has been moved and seconded. Any other conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is passed. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Resolution RS 2018-1496 by Councilperson Hurt.
I'm on it too.
Oh, okay, that's what you were saying. Okay, and Johnson, do I have a motion to bring this before us?
So move.
And did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we will turn it over to the sponsor, please.
So this is, as a Metro Council, condemning mass shooting and hate. You know, we hate keep doing it, but somebody has to remind the people or city or whomever, hate should not be here. Hate should not trigger the mass shooting. So we have to keep reminding there's no such things should exist in city of Nashville or entire states or entire planet for that matter. So for that reason, this is a non-binding resolution, but have to make statement as a Metro Council.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Thank you. Next bill's on second reading. We've got Bill 2018-1385. To bring this before us, may I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
And seconded. And so now I'm turning it over to the sponsor, please.
Would like us to move the amendment? Introduce
No,
amendment?
thank you. I'm not going to, I've chosen not to move that amendment. So,
Okay, so,
bill as it is currently before you.
all right, and you don't need to speak to it?
So
I'm
no
happy to
amendment.
answer questions about the bill, but I don't
85.
intend to move the amendment.
Okay.
Can we read the caption? I don't have my agenda. I don't know
You
what
have
we're
to
talking
caption,
about.
Madam Chair.
It just
Would you like me to
says
read it?
that we amend the chapter 1.04 of the Metro Council of Law by adding a new section 1.04.070 establishing general compliance requirements for all permits issued by the Metro government.
Thank you.
If you
I have a question.
Did you want me to?
That's really all it says.
It's absent such, I'm reading the sentence here, I'm going to tell you what it does. Absent such compliance, a permit may be revoked or suspended following any notice requirements subject to, and right now it says existing rights to reapply and recognized rights of appeal, and it's taking out existing rights to reapply. I don't know why, so maybe somebody could explain.
Actually not correct. I think what is in your packet before you would.
Is that what the old, was that the?
That was the amendment, and we feel like the language is currently structured already does that. It was kind of an abundance of caution, and after we talked it through a little bit more, it just seemed like everything was covered. So I think in the last two committees, it's the amendment language that's actually been before you, unfortunately, or it's.
Because in yellow, this has proposed amendment.
Right, but I think also
But
the
with
bill
withdrawing the
itself.
amendment, you are moving the bill
Correct.
without
I would like to
amendment.
move the bill without the amendment, please,
Okay.
for your consideration.
All those in favor, or do we have more discussion? Yes.
Can somebody describe what it does?
So
What does it add to the law that isn't there now?
So in state legislation, you will see a lot of references to laws of general applicability. And our permits are not under the general applicable provision. In the chapter 104 that has our laws of general applicability, there are things that say all Metro departments should comply with the code. This would add a permit. So if a permit is issued by the department, let's say Water Services, your contest may be with the Water Services Department. This makes clear that your dispute is with metropolitan government in general. So that when state law comes back and later says, if you violate a law of general applicability, XYZ consequence, this makes clear that permits issued by the metropolitan government bring you under that umbrella. That's the intent.
Is it a clarification or a change?
Boy, it's in between those two, but I guess I would technically call it a change.
Yes.
Clarifying
Please
change.
help. We have some, yes.
So I was just trying to see, how would it apply? Does it affect the Airbnb, like if they already have a permit under, could you explain how that is versus what it would be under the new?
Yes, so in the recent state legislation with respect to short-term rentals that came after Councilman Hager 608, the bill essentially said cities, you can continue to apply your 3 strikes and you're out rule if it's a violation of a rule of general applicability. Well, that was our intent if you violated your permit 3 times, but because that's not clear in the law, this would make that clear and other provisions where permits are needing to be enforced as a law of general applicability.
Thank you. That was a good question.
That's what.
So,
You all can explain it to me later, because I really still don't understand that.
I mean, I interpret that as eliminating potential wiggle room that clever people might try to argue based on how we passed some laws.
So it's got to come back to us. If it's a permit that we did, it's got to come back to Metro.
It just makes it, it clears
Easier for
up
us
an
to enforce.
inconsistency from the way some state laws are drafted.
Yes.
Council Lady Johnson.
thank you, Madam Chair. So this permit is applied to any and every permit issued by Metro. So not necessarily applied to short-term rental, but construction, water, electric, plumbing, whatever the permit. So does it apply to only permit is in effect? So I think some permit, they may, apply, but after a certain time, they may expire.
Right.
So during the duration of the permit.
For active and pending permits, correct.
So the way I understood is that will give the cause people or whomever the appropriate inspector to enter into the permit holder's premises.
Well, depending on what the permit is, the intent is to give the full faith and credit of the metropolitan government behind it, so that if someone citing state law says, well, I haven't violated a law of general applicability, we can now say, yes, you have. You're in violation of a permit. That is a law now of general applicability in the metropolitan government.
So for kind of just pulling, out of my hat, like a state law, some house may get permit from state to operate as a barber shop or hairdresser. So it's a state permit. But as a metro, we do not have such permit to allow them to operate the residence. So in that case, that will give the metro entity to inspect the applicability.
Well, no, this does not allow us to trump state permit preemption.
So only the metro permit.
Correct.
If we issue the permit, we are entitled for inspection.
Correct.
I think to Bob's point, it's just clarifying the way state law often refers to laws of general applicability, but for our permitting, you might find something internal to codes or internal to water. It was in all different places, and this just sort of brings a clarity or uniformity saying that all permits are.
So does it have any state coming after us to trump this permit enforcement?
I don't think so. No, I think this is just clarifying language in my view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Well, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you. Our next is Bill 2018-1387, and this readopts the code of the Metro government prepared by the Municipal Code Corporation, including supplemental and replacement pages thereof containing certain ordinances of a general and permanent nature enacted on or before September the 5th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
It has been so moved and second. Discussion? And I can't explain this one.
It's just updating the online.
We have a contract with the Municipal Code Corporation. It's a national company that maintains our code and codes for cities across the country. And so when you pass an ordinance, Council Lady, we don't actually go back and retype the code. This company, every quarter, does it.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Next, I think that is all. So is there any other business coming before us?
You
Yes,
may
sir.
have before you a proposed questionnaire for Community Oversight Board members, but if not, this was put on your agenda.
Okay, it is at the bottom under Murphy's. All I have is consideration of the questionnaire for the Community Oversight Board nominations.
After that was placed on the agenda, Vice Mayor Schulman received a draft from an organization in Community Oversight now with some additional proposed questions, and he further decided to take nominations for this board not until December 18th. Questionnaires would not be due until after that, so you will see this again on your agenda on December 4th for your approval.
So we have nothing for it now.
I don't think you have anything.
All I have is that statement. I do not have the, I don't have the survey or anything.
Okay.
All I have is the last sentence statement that says consideration of questionnaire for Community Oversight Board nominations,
And I think
period.
that will be on your agenda December 4th. Again, I think that was pulled and probably should have been pulled from your agenda, but that's the reason why.
Thank you. Is there any other business before us? If not, I will honor a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are out. Thank you. Okay. This way.